You're listening to the 119th edition of the Bitachon podcast, and we have a switch of tone in the Psukim. David HaMelech was saying how Hashem is my shepherd, how Hashem brings me unending prosperity, beautiful pastures, endless waters. But David HaMelech switches in Pasuk Dalet and says, Gam ki elech b'geitz al maves. It's a little easier to praise Hashem when Hashem is clearly there, when everything is going good. But what about when things are hard? What about when I'm in the gates al maves? I'm in the valley of the shadow of death. I'm in a place of challenge, I'm in a place of difficulty. Lo yirah, says David HaMelech, King David, and he had so many experiences. David HaMelech had so many experiences in his lifetime. He was treated as if he was a mamzer. He was treated in a terrible way. He was treated, he was chased after by Shaul HaMelech, by his own son Absalom. He had so many difficulties, and he said, I've had good times in my life and I've had challenges in my life. And even in the challenges, I'm not afraid of bad. I'm not afraid, as we'll see, of the bad of others or even my own negative deeds. Ki ata imadi. Why? Because Hashem, you are with me no matter where I am, no matter how far I've strayed, no matter how far into gullus, into the exile I am, no matter how difficult life seems, no matter how things are headed, no matter where they're headed, no matter what things look like. I'm not afraid, because you're with me. Shiftecha umishantecha, hema yanachamuni. And David HaMelech tells us a very powerful statement, a very deep lesson. Shiftecha umishantecha, the very means that you use, which we mentioned last week, we're going to go over this week, to the very means that you use to punish me, or to guide me back, to get me back on the right track, that's a nechama. That's a consolation for me. I know how much you love me, Hashem. I know how much you care about me. I know that you guide me to the place that I'm supposed to be. You bring me to the place where I'm supposed to be. Says the Medrash Shecher Tov, Gan ki elech b'geitz al maves b'midbar zif. Even when I'm in a dark, death-laden place. One of the places that David HaMelech was hiding was a place called Midbar Zif. He was hiding from his enemies. Lo yirah, I will not be afraid. Lama ki ata imadi. I know you're with me. How do I know? Shiftecha. Because it's your staff, it's your rod. Ela Yisurin. It's a reference to the Yisurin. Madat Amar Shevet HaNagis Boi. Pasuk Yishaya. Umishantecha. Zayatayra Shimishon Yisrael. Very interesting. David HaMelech says, what are the two things that I'm comforted by? I'm comforted that I know that these Yisurin come from you. I absolutely 100% believe that the challenges and the difficulties are you guiding me back to the path that I belong on. That's shiftecha. Mishantecha means it means also a walking stick, something that you lean on in order to walk forward. Hashem has a mishon, and he has a walking stick. What's kiviyachol Hashem's walking stick? It's the Torah. The Torah is that which guides us on our path, that which we lean upon, we rely upon. It's the directions for life that we know. If we have the Torah with us, himei nachamuni, that's the nechama, that's the consolation. I have God's wisdom, I have God's directions to get me back on path, to get me back to the right way. Yochel b'lo yisurin tamid lemer ach, says the Medrash Shecher Tov. You might think that, I can live a life which is purely perfect, which is purely, fields of green and endless goodness. But it's not true. Pasuk says, 2 psukim later, Ach toiv v'chesed yirdefuni kol yimei chayei. David HaMelech says, would that good and kindness chase after me all of the days of my life. So this ach, the word ach, we find, our sages tell us, ach is a diminution. It's diminishing the word tov v'chesed. It's not always going to be true that I'm going to have good things in my life. A person lives his life. There's almost a guarantee that you will have to go through certain difficulties and challenges in life. But I can go through those challenges knowing that it's from Hashem, and that Hashem gives me the Torah to guide me. That's the Medrash. Now he brings the Medrash in Shir Hashim. Shivtecha ela yisurin meshantecha zu Torah. Like we said, it's the difficulties in the Torah, which Hemei Nachamuni, they guide me and they give me consolation. Yochav ela yisurin tamad lomer ach. Again, the Medrash in Shir Hashim says the same thing as the Medrash Shecher Tov. And it adds on another thing. You might think that this is true in this world. So, what's it going to be like? What's my outlook? My outlook is that maybe it's going to be like this in the world to come. So this is a little bit of a different shot. We said ach means to say that there's a diminishment of the fact that I'm going to always have kindness and good. But here's another pshat. In this world, it's true that I have challenges and difficulties. But in the world to come, in the place of my ultimate reward, in the place where I have connection to Hashem, it seems to be saying, so there it's going to be only good. When I'm in that place of eternal reward, so then I have that enjoyment for all times. It's only good. Or that's one way of understanding it. Or it could be, it could be that there's cycles of experience, right? And if I only feel good all the time, so then you could get burned out, right? So maybe there's ups and downs in the world to come as well. Okay, I don't know. It's not so clear. Let's see, the Marzu says, on explaining this Medrash, the good and the kindness, the Marzu says, listen to this, it's amazing. The gateway to all of the good, the gateway, you want to live in Eretz Yisrael, which is the ultimate purpose of the Jew. Eretz Yisrael, Chazal says, Niknas b'Yisurin, he brings. There are three gifts that Hashem gives, the ultimate gifts. You've reached the end point. If you're living in Eretz Yisrael, you're there. But the gateway to get there, you have to pass through the lake of fire. You have to pass through Yisurin, you have to pass through challenges and difficulties. Whenever somebody comes to Eretz Yisrael, a new immigrant, so I always say to them, the first year is the hardest. You have to get through the first year. When you get through the first year, you get to the other side. I'm not saying it's going to be easy after that, but it's the beginnings. But the Marzu is saying that this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu set up the world. You want to get to the La'irech Yamim, Shavdi B'Beis Hashem La'irech Yamim, you want to be able to sit and learn. You want to be able to sit and live in Eretz Yisrael. You want to be able to get to wherever you want to get to. You have to pass through the difficulties and the challenges. On a simple level, it sounds like he's saying the simple understanding of Olam Haba in order to get to the world to come, which is a place of constant enjoyment and endless, higher and higher, deeper and deeper connection to Hashem. But in order to get there, we have to go through this world. We have to go through the challenges and the difficulties, the Yisurin of this world. So this is a chizik in Bitachon, right? Because we understand, we know, in Bitachon, we can talk about at the highest level of only good things happening to me. Right? But even there, I have to go through the challenge of it looks like it's going to be bad, right? But it's possible on the very highest level, the Alter Bitachon's level, to have only good things. But there's a lower level, which is where we all are, where we have to go through challenges and difficulties and remind ourselves, Atayim Adi, Hashem, it's you, you're with me, Hashem, you're with me. Okay, the Ibn Ezra. Im tekrenik zeres hashamayim, Hashem gazer mi yimei kedem lavoi roba olam. Yizmah ha'rola gate salmavis. Says the Ibn Ezra, this pasuk is talking about we have periods, tekufos, in history that were decreed from heaven that this time is going to be a challenging, difficult time. Inquisitions, world wars, difficulties. Right? Lo yara shira yeli. I'm not going to be afraid that although the times are difficult times, that it's going to be bad for me. Ki shivtecha yerli haderech ad she'etzeh. Because your staff, your guidance will show me the way until I get out. I'll be guided by you. David HaMelech is telling us that when he goes through the difficult times that are decreed upon the world, I have a consolation in my heart because you're guiding me. And the reason is that when these times of difficulty come to the world, Hashem will provide all kinds of unusual circumstances so that those who trust in Him will be sustained. They'll live despite the famine, and they'll be saved from death. That's the Ibn Ezra. Now he brings the Meir Tehillim. Begolus lo yira rak yatam yadis. Again, there's this theme that when we're in exile, we're distant from the place where we belong. We're far away from Eretz Yisrael. We're far away from where the Jewish people should be. Lo yira rak yatam yadi. I'm not afraid because you're with me. Ki golu le'edam shechina imayim. We find our sages say that although the Jewish people were exiled to the lands of Edom, Hashem, the divine presence, is with them. Ki gam sham skulasai. We are His precious nation, even there, right? Doesn't matter how much this religion says they became the chosen people, or that religion says that they became the chosen people, or this country claims to be the highest of mankind. We are Hashem's chosen people. We have that special appellation. Hashem's power is everywhere. And the shevach, the praise that you have, Hashem, to judge the nations. Asher hu meshenes elikim. He says a different pshat. This Meir Tehillim says a different pshat in what is the meshenes. Right? The Mishenes is something that we can rely upon. That is, we can rely that Hashem is going to bring judgment upon the nations of the world. There will be righteousness. The truth will come out in the end. Right? How we were falsely accused, how we were treated with a different standard. Right, the Hemshech, the continuation of the Psukim speaks about how Hashem sets up the table for the oppressors of King David, and it's true for the Jewish people, right? Our oppressors, everything is waiting for them. The day comes, there is a day that comes in the end, when Hashem shows the truth, when all of the nations receive justice. That's a nechama, right? Even though I'm being oppressed right now, even though, there are people sitting in the White House who clearly want to give power to our enemies, right? It seems unfair. What's wrong with them? Just wait. Just wait. Now it brings the Medrash Chachamim, U'me'ata Omar Gam Ki Elech Begeit Salmavish. Perush. Given sheze koichai, since Hashem has the power, Hashem has the power to provide for us, to give us everything that we need, to give us, right, like it was in the Midbar. In the wilderness, Hashem provided for us protection from the elements. He gave us the food, He gave us the drink, etc. So when I go through an experience where I see that Hashem gives me what I need. There are times of the year where I know I have a certain amount of money coming. There are times, I'm a freelancer, right? I work for myself. But there are times when I know I have a certain set job. Every year. If Hashem will get me through those times. So when I go through the exile, when I go through the times where things don't seem as certain, I know Hashem is not going to abandon me then. I'll not be afraid because you are with me. You can save me. You can take care of me. Says the Medrash, what does this mean? Despite all of the challenges, the difficulties, the pain that we go through in our exile, but nearby, we always have something to lean on. What is the thing that we lean on? He brings that the Medrash says, the pasuk says that when Yaakov Avinu was sending a gift to Esav, he placed spaces between the groups of animals. Why? He wanted there to be space. He wanted there to be space. What does this represent? It represents and teaches us that the challenges that we will go through as a nation, the Jewish people, they won't be one after the other. We get killed and stomped and dropped, and it's not going to be one after the other. There'll be spaces between them. There'll be a moment to breathe, or more than a moment to breathe. We'll go through a terrible situation, and then we'll be given a land that we can return to. Right? We'll go through the worst possible horrors, but there's a space. We don't get completely and utterly, absolutely destroyed. There's space. And that's how we know that Hashem is still with us. This is something that consoles me. Whenever I'm going through a difficulty, I know that this too shall pass. This too shall pass. This challenge, it will pass. We're gonna get through this. Shivtecha umishantecha. I have Hashem on one hand is giving me a patch, and on the other hand, Hashem has a mishenes for me, something for me to lean on, a space that I can look forward to. I can know I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to that space. One last thing we'll read from the Alshich. Right? The Alshich says that the experience of the tzaddik, as we saw earlier, as we mentioned earlier, and as we saw in previous weeks, sometimes the tzaddik has a period of time without any difficulties, without any challenges. It's that open green field. At that time, God's name of compassion, of kindness, is being his shepherd, is guiding him, taking care of him from the heavens. When a person endures and goes through, a righteous person endures challenges and difficulties, they shouldn't think or feel that Hashem is not right with them, right there with them, going through the challenges with them. At that time, Hashem is so with the person. Kid Omar, the pasuk says, Hashem Yisadeinu al eretz devai. Pasuk in Tehillim Mem Aleph, pasuk Daled says, Hashem props us up when we're on the bed, the sick bed. When it seems like we're at the end. Hashem props us up. Hashem sits there with us. That's why there's a halacha that you're not allowed to be in the space above a sick person, like to go on top of, let's say they're in a bunk bed, to go on top, you're not allowed because the Shekhinah is there. The divine presence is intimately present with a person who's very sick. The divine presence is above his head. Pasuk says, I am with him in his challenge. And Hashem, Pasuk says, stands by the right side of the poor person. Omar, hine Hashem roi. So David HaMelech is saying, look, when Hashem is my shepherd, Sheshem Racham Roi Racham, that He's interacting with me in a way which shows clearly, I see openly that it's His mercy. So I have everything I need. I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing anything when I'm in that matzav. Hashem gives me like the ultimate good. And he explains there the al-shech that a person will have Eretz Yisrael, be able to live in Eretz Yisrael, be able to learn the Torah, we'll have everything that we need spiritually. If I'm in a place, I'm in a time where chas v'shalom, a person is being judged for his sins, so challenges come, maybe they come because I've done something wrong. Sometimes they come to purify me so that I can get something good, or both. But my Yetzer Hara will say, look, you know why this is happening to you, the bad things? It's because it's coming because you're a sinner. Right? That's what the Yetzer Hara says. But the response to the Yetzer Hara is that Hashem is not just my shepherd when everything is going good. Even when I'm having challenges, and it's because of my sins. Says, even when I'm in a place where I'm being punished for my sins, Hashem is there with me too. And that is an incredible consolation. Because I need to think about myself honestly and know I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I deserve sometimes the challenges and difficulties that I go through. But that doesn't mean that Hashem has abandoned me here and dropped me because of the things I've done wrong. All the way around, says David HaMelech, as the Al-Sheikh explains. All the way around. If I'm going through challenges and difficulties because of my sins, even there, Hashem is with me. Hashem is by my side. Hashem is in the darkness. The valley of the shadow of death, the place of Yetzer Hara, the place of judgment. I'm not afraid because you're with me. Thanks so much for listening. See you again next time.